Welcome to the Okanagan Tonight from Shaw Cable 11 Studios.
We begin the show on somewhat of a tense note. A 3-alarm fire just has been sounded. If you heard the alarm from the city fire hall, there is a 3-alarm fire going on right now. We'll try to have a report on that later on. It's apparently at the Golden Sands Motel down on Lakeshore Drive, and hopefully that will be put out quickly. I understand there's some guests staying there for the BC Arts Festival. And on a more positive note, we have notes from the festival tonight, a lot of footage. We've been quite busy all week, and the festival continues on tomorrow. And Don, what do you have in sports?
Well, as usual, Brian, the Stanley Cup, I think it's surprised a lot of people. They got some upcoming games in the slow pitch to mention, some upcoming scores, and we're going to also be taking a look at the 1984 Labatt's Pro Rodeo Series, and that's later on in the May, so we'll be talking about that tonight, too.
All right, thanks very much, Don. Well, breakdancing is becoming a more popular form of art these days, and we have some part of it. Let's see, no, I lost my place here. Okay, let's have a look at Dido and the Hand People with choreographer Constantine Darling in rehearsal for the Ogopogo Legend. That's Between the Waters. That's all part of the BC Arts Festival.
Art students from Penticton High School are down at the Community Arts Center this week, where they will be painting a mural in the foyer. Pam Saul explains.
It's a semi-abstract painting. The central image is a symbol, really, of creative thought, and the images move outwards to the left and right of the panel and grow more definite, more realistic, and represent really the creative thought made visual in visual art, dance, song, music, theatre, and came about as a result of the festival. It was designed specifically to be painted at this time and to reflect the idea of the festival. The students working on the painting are the Drawing and Painting 12 class at Penn High, and they have been working with the idea really since Christmas and submitted individual designs, and then through group discussion we went from stage to stage until we finally selected half a dozen designs, and they then incorporated it into this total mural that you see here.
We have the wrong tape there. That was a bit of a display of art right there. We'll try to fix that in just a few minutes' time. Also, there's a little bit of music. We have some footage here on a music festival that went on as well, too.
Artist Tony Onley and his wife Yukiko arrived in Penticton yesterday to join in the celebration of the BC Festival of the Arts. Onley, formerly of Penticton, was given the red carpet treatment in front of the Delta Lakeside Hotel, where he was met by Mayor Ivan Mesmer, as well as a number of other city dignitaries.
Oh, thank you. Oh, good. Oh, wear that with pride.
Good.
Oh, good. Next time I leave town, I'll have something to put right on.
Come on, attitude.
Thank you.
Okay.
I asked Tony how important a festival such as this is to the local arts community.
I think it's probably the grassroots importance. It's where art comes from, really. I mean, you have to have your start. And young artists certainly need every opportunity they can get to exhibit. I know we were all in this position at one time, and I've always told artists to seize every opportunity they can to show their work. You know, until you get your foot in the door, you've got to seize these opportunities. Of course, when I was starting out, and we're talking about 30 years ago, there were no opportunities like this to exhibit. There were no commercial galleries, for one thing. There were civic galleries, but they were for professional artists and not people who were not established.
Tony feels that the Okanagan is a good refuge for local artists. It's also a place for city artists to come and develop their techniques.
So. But then, of course, there's something very nice about being able to work away quietly somewhere. You know, art is self-expression primarily. And if you're talking to somebody else through your art and you strike another chord with it, well, that's fine. If you don't, you have to be very stubborn about it, and you have to carry on and do your own thing. I mean, it's very important in art to express yourself in art. So I think that communities like Penticton, the Okanagan Valley, the interior, really have their place as refuges for the artists, a place to work quietly and speak to yourself, more or less, and find out what you're all about. You know, before you go out to the world at large, if you have something to say and it comes off well, that's the time to load it all into a truck and go down to the coast and see if somebody else likes it too.
It's been about 27 years now since Tony lived here in Penticton. We asked him about the changes that have taken place in the artistic community.
Now, of course, it's entirely changed. I don't know what's brought the change about. Maybe it's, of course, Penticton's a much bigger city now than when I lived here. I think there's probably about 10,000 people here. I don't know how many people here now, but at that time there's about 10,000 people. But then they were scattered out all over the place. To go down to Skaha Lake was a drive in the country in those days. I mean, the town is really filled up now. And you have this magnificent entrance into Penticton with a water slide on each side.
Truly inspiring.
And your selection of gas stations. But, I mean, it's a much more lively place now.
Would you call it a thriving arts community from what you've seen?
Well, it certainly could be. And I think once the art gallery is in place, it needs a center, you see, and that would be the center where activity could take place. And it would also be an opportunity to bring in some of the best art that's being done in the country. I mean, once you have a gallery that comes up to snuff, other galleries will loan their best work to it. And that's a way of getting some of the better work into the valley so that people can see what's going on nationally and possibly internationally. And this is very inspiring to artists. You have to have that because art's a social activity, and you have to have other art around to look at and be inspired by. It doesn't happen in a vacuum, or if it does, it happens very slowly.
When we asked him about his battle with Revenue Canada, he had this response.
Optimistic about that. The main problem, of course, is that we don't have a cultural policy in this country which is recognized by all departments of government. You have situations where you have Carousel Theatre, for example, and Neptune Theatre in Nova Scotia, having the Canada Council grants seized by Revenue Canada. Now, if the government of Canada had intended Revenue Canada to be given Canada Council grants, I'm sure they would have planned it a little better. It's just like one half of the government doesn't know what the other half is doing. And now it's pretty obvious, and I think something's going to be done about it. I'd be very surprised if things carried on. I don't think they can carry on the same way. I think we're going to get across-the-board cultural policy which is going to be supported by all levels of government.
Penticton talking about government's cultural policy, how he almost burned some of his paintings in protest against the tax policy. A lot of events have been happening, of course. Need I say more about the BC Festival of the Arts? Has been going on since, well, actually all this week, but officially got underway on Wednesday. And concludes tomorrow night, well, actually during the day tomorrow is the Paul Horn concert. And Leon Bibb is going to be around in the afternoon, the Maple Street Jazz Band. Sherry Ulrich is a featured performer at the Peach Bowl tomorrow night. One of the people that we talked to yesterday was Mr. Tom Kerr, who originally from Victoria, started out there, moved to Kamloops, and was supervisor of drama for the schools up in that district, and went to the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon, and is now with a theatre company in Halifax, but has come back to be one of the adjudicators of the Festival of the Arts. We talked with Tom yesterday. Okay, we seem to have gotten things a little bit mixed up there. That was, Mike, can you tell me exactly what that was there in the Ogopogo mythical rehearsal? So we can just move on there and have some miscellaneous interviews that we were supposed to have just a couple of minutes ago. I think we're going to get things back on track here in just a moment. Please bear with us. the beginning, the opening parade and the procession as part of the opening ceremonies for the BC Festival of the Arts. One of the bands that probably would have shown up on that footage there was a band called Skywalk, a kind of a jazz rock fusion band based out of Vancouver. And later next week, we'll have some in-depth footage. Cameraman Mike Schmitz and myself went out last week, at least on Wednesday night, and interviewed the whole band, got a lot of in-depth interviews. Rather exciting band because they're just about to have a U.S. release of their current LP, Silent Witness, and hopefully we'll put Vancouver even more on the musical map. I think a band personally, now I know I'm biased when I say this, but a band I personally think will be as successful as ones like Trooper, Powder Blues, or the Payolas, etc., etc., etc. Okay, now, moving right along, as they say, we have the interview with Mr. Tom Kerr, one of the drama adjudicators in this BC Festival of the Arts. Our guest here is Mr. Tom Kerr of Halifax, who is one of the adjudicators for Theatre BC here during the BC Festival of the Arts. Tom, I guess it's largely theatrical aspects you're adjudicating, is it?
Yes, I'm adjudicating the winners of the regions from the entire province of British Columbia. As a matter of fact, I'm really looking at a showcase of the best in non-professional theatre. You know, we say amateur theatre, but quite often there's some awfully good people who choose to work at other jobs and do theatre as a hobby. They all compete. I think you may have 11, 12 zones throughout British Columbia. All the winners are here this week, and I'm on stage making comments on what I see. Next day I meet them for a 3-hour workshop. I go through my critique in detail. We have a feedback to me. I try to explain something. They tell me what they're after. And I'm only here. I've just finished adjudicating in Saskatchewan, and I had adjudicated in the Maritimes before that. And I'm only here because I knew that this was going to be more of a place of exchanging ideas, of a learning situation, rather than who gets the big cup.
As an adjudicator, what do you look for in some of these productions or within the actors themselves?
Within the actors themselves, I want people up there that I can believe what they're talking about. Anyone can be trained to memorize lines, and too often, right across Canada, we see a play, let's say a play by Neil Simon, let's say The Odd Couple, which is almost indestructible. So many very funny lines. And you'll get actors who say Neil Simon's very funny lines, they don't bump into each other, and they've remembered the lines, and they say, weren't we wonderful? And really, Mr. Simon should be there to take the curtain call. And what I want are directors and actors who will take a script, go in and out of it, all through. We can do it this way, that way, this way. If they use a set, if they use lights, that the dynamic, that they do something for the play or don't do anything at all. And at the end of it, that they have knocked me for 6, that there's an impact, and we can call that entertainment. It makes you weep, it moves you, it makes you angry. And we've had that this week. We had a show the other night that people were walking out in anger, and next day we had tremendous discussion about that. I look for theatre that would bring me back. It's not enough just to be good, and it's very bad to be bad, and it's absolutely intolerable to bore, and I want the most exciting I can get.
As Mr. Tom Kerr, who's one of the adjudicators at the BC Festival of the Arts, one of the people we mentioned earlier was Dido, the band Dido and the Hand People. Well, the Hand People as such does not exist anymore. The new band is called Channel, as we'll be talking about in just a moment. We had a chance to catch up with Dido and catch some of his performance, and we have that for you now.
just finished watching a rousing performance from the band called Chano, led by a fellow named Dito, or better known as Govind Dito. That's a spiritual name. And a spiritual name, what religion would that be, or who are you a follower of again?
Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh.
And how does that differ from some of the other Indian gurus?
Well, you know, I don't know if I'd be able to really tell you because I haven't been a follower or a reader of many of the other gurus. I just know that Bhagwan's teachings are for me, you know.
So anyway, you're a percussionist, and you've been quoted as saying percussion is the mother and father of all instruments. Now, putting all that together with your spirituality, how would that go together with your music?
Well, we're all spiritual in the sense that we are all percussive, you know, like movement, you know, the way we walk, the way we talk, everything is percussive, you know, and but we're not all percussionists. And being so that percussion is so easy to do, and it's so simple, so to speak, just basic percussion, that it's simple, and the repetition, you know, which makes it even more simpler, people think, but it's the repetition that really gives its energy, the repeating of something. It's like a flywheel on a car or a fan belt, you know, like if that stops turning, forget it, man. You're not going to be able to move anymore, you know. So to me, percussion is the art of simplicity because it takes an art to be able to take something so simple and make it spiritual. You know?
Well, I see by your list here of credits, you've played with such people as Bruce Coburn, Dr. John, Freddie Hubbard, Grover Washington Jr., Captain Tennille, Gino Vanelli.
Yeah, I worked with Captain Tennille on a 13-month tour. It was a 13-week tour. It was just great, man.
That kind of music could be described almost as ultra-commercial by some.
Definitely MOR. Definitely MOR.
And but also people like Gino Vanelli, and that's a period I gather you really enjoyed doing.
Oh, yeah, man. That was one of the better 3 years of my musical career, was working with Gino for 3 years. You know, it was just incredible. You know, he's an incredible person. You know, he's really an incredible person.
Dito, thanks very much for taking your time to speak with us, and I wish you continued success in your career. We've been talking with Dito. Govind Dito is a spiritual name, one of the percussionists here, and doing a workshop here at the BC Festival of the Arts.
Very interesting talking to Dito, rather enlightening experience, you might say. Talked with some of his other band members. One of his fellows is from Africa, and a lot to say about the history of African drum music and how it does affect our music. In many ways, there are a lot of spiritual overtones to it. Well, time now for a look at sports. And Don, what have you got for us tonight?
Okay, we're going to take a look at the Edmonton Oilers and upcoming results, and towards the end of the program I'll get a chance to talk to you and what your thoughts are on whether the Stanley Cup is going to be won tomorrow night, Brian.
It'll be interesting to find out.
Okay, turning to sports, the Edmonton Oilers defeated the New York Islanders 7-2 Thursday night at Edmonton to lead the best-of-7 series 3-1. The fifth game is slated for Saturday in Edmonton, and of course Andy Moog was between the pipes there for the Edmonton team. And if the sixth and seventh game is necessary, it'll return to Long Island, and hopefully that won't happen, that the Edmonton Oilers can wrap her up tomorrow night. Now we're turning to slow pitch now in the mixed league in the Division A, Tuesday, May the 22nd, 84. It'll be CIGV Giants versus the WD Glass Breakers at Queen's Park. And in the B division, it'll be the Phillips Chevolds versus the Burger King at the Princess Margaret West. And also upcoming for Tuesday, May the 22nd, it'll be Skaha Rotary versus the SOBSs versus Kinsman and Company at Princess Margaret East. That didn't sound too good. And of course, in games played there just the other day on the May the 16th, it was Precision Glass 10, the Royal Kings 6, and that was Glenn Wright was the winning pitcher, and Mary Bibb and Ann Smith were the losing pitchers in that cause. And then, of course, on May the 7th, there was the BDN Snappers 19 and the Airport 9, and Joyce Lear was the winning pitcher, and the pitcher, Sandy, was the losing pitcher, and that's in the slow pitch. And also upcoming a little later on the Labatt's Pro Sports circuit for all you people that are rodeo people, on May the 19th to the 21st is the Clover Rodeo, and from May 31st to June 1st is the Big Valley Stampede. And June 14th to 17th, it's the Brandon Rodeo, and that's Brandon, Manitoba. And Ponoka Stampede is June 29th to July the 2nd. And of course, to all the people that are here for the BC Arts Festival 84, we welcome you to Penticton, and may your stay here be a pleasant one. And of course, that includes the people that are passing through or staying here in Penticton for our holiday. And now we're going to go to the phone lines, and we're going to open them up and just see what kind of thoughts we're going to get on tomorrow night's game. And we've got a guest on the phone right now, and we'll go to her right now. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you this evening?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Have you got any thoughts on tomorrow night's game? I noticed I'd been talking to you the other day. You'd said that the Islanders were going to take her. Have you got any different thoughts about that?
No, I still say the Islanders will take it. They'll go 7 games, and I think we'll go into overtime.
So what you're saying right now is the Islanders are going to come back and win her straight and take the cup. Are you still going along with the one gentleman you talked about as far as scoring the winning goal?
Mm-hmm. Mike Bossy? Yeah, definitely.
Also, you understand you're a vivid friend of, a sports personality so far as Bobby Clark is concerned.
Oh, definitely. He's my number one.
Were you surprised to see him step down?
Yes, I was. Yeah, it's really going to be disappointing not to see him on the ice anymore.
Okay, I want to thank you for calling us and giving us your views, and I hope hopefully you're wrong. I'd like to see the Edmonton team take her tomorrow night, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we will.
Okay, thank you for calling in.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye.
And for you people also out there, a reminder to all of you is that this weekend we've got lots of extra people in the city today, and through the weekend, I'm saying drive safe. If you get too many under the belt through our various establishments here, you're better to park the car or get a cab or do anything, but drive careful and safe, and I hope you people that are passing through Penticton here have a safe journey home. Now we're going to turn over to Brian again. Brian, I understand we got anything on that fire that's happening?
We do have some material now, not quite ready yet, but we'll be along in just a few minutes. Gary McCallum just drove down and took a few shots, and we'll talk to him. He'll have a little bit of information as to exactly what happened. In the meantime, though, let's try and decide who's going to win the Stanley Cup.
Well, I don't know. You know, the Islanders surprised me. I'm going to have to go with them, Brian.
The Islanders?
Pardon me, the Edmonton. I'm going to have to go. Yeah.
I hope so.
Well, I could be wrong, but, you know, I'll say this much, that the Islanders claim they're going to come back for the next 3, and we're going to have to wait and see.
Well, like Yogi Berra once said, it ain't over till it's over.
That's true. Right. And I understand you've been real busy this week. Presumably you met a lot of people from out of town.
Busy, Don, would be an understatement. We've been very busy. We've been putting in so many late nights and just doing a lot of work, just staying with the BC Festival of the Arts. It's been a lot of fun, though.
And also later in the program, I understand you get the weather forecast coming up, and also the weatherman's really held out for us in the last couple of days.
Yeah, he has. No rain, fortunately. The skies look quite threatening, but on the other hand, too, you can look at it either way, really. We haven't had the vintage Okanagan heat that we're known for, but on the other hand, it's rather pleasant at the same time. And speaking of the BC Arts Festival, there's still some more interviews. We caught up with a lot of people yesterday, just about anybody and everybody. Asked them how they were enjoying the festival.
Yes, we have standing with us here right now is Mr. Patrick Monroe. That name may be familiar to you as the host of the afternoon show, heard on CBC Radio, Okanagan. The call number again, I forget, 93.9, was it?
93.5, Brian, on the FM dial. Carried, no doubt, by Shaw Cable.
That's correct. How do you like being up here in the Okanagan? Is it a little drier than the West Coast?
Yeah, no, you know, everybody from the CBC in Vancouver was really psyched up for our trip up here because we figured, well, we'd get out of the rain and the clouds. And we did. We haven't had sunshine all the time we've been here, but it hasn't rained, and it's considerably warmer. And I'll tell you, I got up this morning, opened my window, looked out in the lake, and I saw a fish jump, and I thought, oh, this is really nice, you know, really nice.
Those are scenes that just sound all too familiar to us and sometimes almost get blasé.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, are you from the coast originally?
Born and raised in Vancouver. I spent about 9 months at some part of my life in Toronto. But, you know, BC started pulling at me again, and I came right back. So
I can understand how you feel there. I mean, I'm not even a native of this province, yet I kept feeling. I'm not a native of this province, yet I kept feeling dragged out here.
yeah, yeah, it's quite true. I mean, you go to other places, and it's okay for a while.
In a small, no, that's Ted Baxter's line, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Patrick, thanks very much for coming up to speak to us here on our show tonight, on Okanagan Tonight. And glad you've enjoyed the Okanagan, and we certainly appreciate CBC coming and paying us a visit in the Okanagan. Please come again.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. And while I've got your viewers, I'll say give me a listen. 93.5 on the FM dial, CBC Radio here in Penticton.
You got it. Thanks very much, Patrick.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Patrick Monroe, who's the host of the afternoon show for CBC Radio out of Vancouver, here at the BC Festival of the Arts all this week. We're standing here talking with Peter Vogelaar, a man from Fort St. John who is designated as the resident roving artist for the BC Festival of the Arts. Is that right, Peter?
Well, sort of like that. I'm one of 4, I believe, that are traveling through the festival and recording the event as it happens.
Well, one thing that's kind of unique about your art, I've been watching you as you walk around here, and you very quickly, providing you have enough time to do it, of course, sit down and sketch what's going on, the people as they're working, as I understand.
That's right. I like particularly drawing musicians and people that are doing their craft, and I guess that also covers news media people. And
yes, and just as we were interviewing a few minutes ago somebody else, I appreciate you doing a quick shot of myself. That's very good work. I must say it's very good.
Okay, thanks. I'm glad you appreciate it.
Well, Peter, thanks very much for stopping to talk to us and doing this painting of us on location, and I wish you all the best of success in your career. I think you've got a good one ahead of you.
Thanks very much, and have a good day yourself.
Well, as I've always been saying, a lot of interesting guests we have here at the BC Festival of the Arts, but these girls are up here from Victoria, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
And what's your name?
Megan Hughes.
What high school you're going to in Victoria?
Oak Bay.
Now, I know that there's one question I can't ask you. You don't like, it's not school that bothers you, it's the principal thing, right?
Right. Suppose I shouldn't say that. But.
Now, your main interest here, it says ST, that means student delegate. Your main interest is drama. Is that what you want to study when you're finished?
I'm not sure. That's one of my favorite subjects, so I'm getting into it.
Are you enjoying the Okanagan?
Yeah, it's beautiful here, it really is.
Is it better here, or is the island better?
Well, I can't say that. I mean, there's thousands of people from both places watching, so...
What's your name?
Linda Logan.
Another Oak Bay student?
Yep.
Main interest drama, I assume, is it?
Yes, it is.
Are you enjoying the BC Festival of the Arts? Having lots of fun?
Yeah, it's great. Having a lot of fun.
What do you like best about it?
The guys.
I figured they'd say something like that. Your name is?
Kim Simpson.
And another Oak Bay student, are you?
Yeah.
Majoring in drama?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, how do you like it up here? Is the Okanagan better, or is the island better? Which?
I like both places. I really like the Okanagan. I like the lake and the beach. It's beautiful. But Victoria's beautiful too. It's got the sea and ocean right there. It's great.
All right, I'm going to ask you a trick question, what I asked her. What do you like best about the festival?
I like the workshops the best, I must admit. I really like the workshops today.
I do too.
They're great. I just got right into them. I really concentrated on my characters, and it's really fantastic.
What are your favorite kinds of characters?
Well, I play older characters, like old ladies and barbarian characters, you know. Like today we were jumping around being like warriors, and it was great.
I'm scared I'm going to run away. But that's what you like best of the workshop. She likes the guys the best.
Not really. I like the workshops too. But
Oh, okay, trying to get out of it again. I know what you're doing.
guys add to it, but you know, the workshops are the best.
All right, girls, thanks very much for talking to us. I hope you enjoy your stay up here.
Thank you.
Three girls from Victoria, BC. We're one of the many guests here at the BC Festival of the Arts.
All kinds of guests that we've had here at the BC Festival of the Arts. One thing we've almost forgotten about, though, every year about this time, the community of Naramata celebrates its May Day in a very colorful way. And Wayne McDougall went out there and took a look.
The traditional maypole dance can still be observed in the community of Naramata. A parade, family games, and the crowning of a queen and princess as well. It's all part of Naramata's May Day celebration, a tradition in the community for a good many years, and this year will be no exception. The festivities will begin with a parade at 10 o'clock Monday morning, followed by maypole dancing and the crowning of the Naramata May Queen and Princess. There will be an egg-throwing contest and other children's games and races that will go on all afternoon. Here we see some highlights of last year's event, which takes place in Manitou Park in Naramata each year. Later Monday night at the Queen's Ball will feature a grand march and dance with music by Good Company. You can watch an interesting program on the 1983 Naramata May Day, which will preview this year's event. The program will be seen tonight at 9 o'clock here on Shaw Cable 11. Brian Roger, the chairman of this year's May Day, invites everyone to come to Manitou Park this Monday and promises a good time for all. In Naramata, this is Wayne McDougall reporting.
Once again, a reminder that the May Day celebrations happen this Monday in Naramata at Manitou Park, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's invited, so come and join the fun. We hope to all see you there. By the way, the footage you saw was last year's May Day celebrations, not this year's, because they haven't happened yet. So once again, we'll see you out there this Monday. Well, one of the pizza places in town, it was just kind of by accident. It happened during the Arts Festival. But in their contribution to charity, the charity in this case being the Salvation Army Food Bank, made a big pizza about 3 feet in diameter. Well, we went down there and had a look at it and tried it out for ourselves.
The Arts is on right now. It also happens to be May, and normally that is Salvation Army Red Shield Appeal Month, and this just happens to coincide with the Arts Festival. But as part of their contribution to charity, well, Pizza Place in town is making up this great big 3-foot in diameter pizza, and each slice that they sell, the proceeds go towards the Salvation Army Food Bank. And, well, it's a good cause to go to, and the pizza's good here as well. It's a DJo's Pizza on Martin Street in downtown Penticton. May is always known as Red Shield Appeal Month for the Salvation Army, and we hear a lot about the Salvation Army's food bank. We have here with us Lieutenant Bob Barnettson of the local chapter of the Salvation Army. Bob, can you tell us a little bit about the food bank and what exactly it does?
Well, Brian, the food bank is a part of our work that we started just a little over a year ago when the economy was turned around. It got quite bad here. It's part of our work that we assist families who run out of food, groceries. You know, they may be waiting for a UIC check, they may be waiting for their human resources check, and they run out of food. Well, rather than giving them a voucher to a grocery store, we began the food bank where we could give the person a bag of groceries. And we found that because of the increased numbers we're having to deal with, it was the only way we could handle it, because there has been several months where we've had as high as 300 and 400 hampers within 1 month's period. So this is what brought about the food bank. At this point, it doesn't seem to be really dying out. We hoped it would be. We hoped the economy would turn, that we could sort of cut out the food bank. But we do appreciate the beautiful support we have from the people of the community of Penticton. They're the ones that make the food bank possible, not us. We just have taken what the community has given to us to help the people of the community.
Okay, what kind of foods do you normally keep in stock? It's quite easy to keep canned goods or non-perishable goods. How about anything that needs refrigeration? Do you keep much of that on hand?
We do. We have a refrigerator that we keep certain things in, but we also have 3 big 21, 22 cubic foot freezers that we keep bread items, we keep meat items. We purchase all the perishable items ourselves. We buy them at wholesale, hamburger, hot dogs, various other types of meat that go into the hampers. The non-perishable is what mainly is donated.
We've been talking with Lieutenant Bob Barnettson of the local chapter of the Salvation Army.
me, that pizza was very good. I heartily recommend that you try it out. I can still feel it even now. Another event going on this Victoria Day weekend, it happened last year, it's kind of becoming an annual event, is the historic train ride up through the mountains, up as far as Osprey Lake. There's also one coming up from Vancouver and going back through to Vancouver. We talked this afternoon with Chamber of Commerce Manager Ross Axworthy all about this train.
We're talking with Chamber of Commerce Manager Ross Axworthy about the historic train that's running from Penticton to Osprey Lake this weekend. I guess this is the second annual running of it, Ross?
Yes, it certainly is, Brian. Second time that last year was really a first, and the first train that had come through carrying passengers in many a year, and people were very thrilled with it, and we've managed to run it again this year. A little bit late in getting started this year, but nevertheless, we are on the way.
Well, I certainly know that no regularly scheduled passenger train service comes here to Penticton anymore. When did that end, anyway?
Well, that was, I'm not sure exactly on the date, but I think it was back about 1960 was the last regular, when the Bud cars, I think, were the last passenger type trains that went through to Vancouver. I think at that time, I think they were probably using the old Coquihalla route, but that's certainly the last ones, and that's a good 25 years almost since any train has come. And last year, I know we sold out the run in 1 week, just the excursion fare, and so people were certainly looking forward to it. Still a magic in train travel that really takes people's fancy, and we certainly find that covers a whole cross-section of people that are interested in it.
Has any thought ever been given to running historic trains at any other time of the year besides just Victoria Day weekend?
Oh, certainly we would like to. There's a lot of hoops you have to go through, getting approvals from all the various people that control the lines. We have to get cooperation of CP Rail, who are very cooperative, but at the same time they have their business interests to look after and their freight carrying. So we certainly would like to have them more often, but we have to do whatever we can, and get whenever we can get approval to do it. And it's I don't think they're that interested in having sort of a really happening a lot, but we would like to see it at least annually, and hopefully, and we have, of course, given thought to like to have just a local excursion, maybe a few miles during the summer on a regular basis, but that's been in the thought in the back of our mind, but it takes a lot of work and takes a lot of people's cooperation, and it's not just a matter of simply running a train down the track. There's a lot of hoops that have to be gone through to just to run a train.
I noticed that some of the rail lines have since been taken away. I noticed in the 3.5 years I've been here that the old, I guess part of the old Kettle Valley line on towards Narromata Way is gone. Are there several others that have been taken out of service since then?
Well, that's the portion of the line that has been gone of the Kettle Valley. The portion west is still here, but part going from Penticton up the switchback above Narromata through Carmi, Beaverdale, on over to Midway. That part has certainly been taken out, and many people feel rather badly about that, but nonetheless that's history now, so we have to make the best of what we have. There also was a section taken out from Okanagan Falls to Asuyas, but that was basically a spur line, I think, for freight. So, but the other line there was quite a lot of furor about it at the time, but that is, again, as I say, water under the bridge. So we have to work with what we have. We still have the line west, and hopefully we will have it for quite a while to come, and so that's where we're trying to run the train. It's this weekend. It comes up on the 19th, the Saturday, from Vancouver. Leaves Vancouver about 8 o'clock in the morning, arrives here about 8:30 at night. Really just a magnificent trip all the way from Vancouver up through the Fraser Valley and the Fraser Canyon, and then down through Merritt and Princeton and through Summerland. Just a gorgeous trip for those that can manage the full trip, either one way or even return. He goes back on the Monday the 21st, back to Vancouver. And of course on the Sunday, while the train's here, the people that are come from all parts of North America get a chance to stay a couple of nights in Penticton and view some of the scenic sites in Penticton and enjoy some of our facilities. While that's happening, we have an excursion out to Osprey Lake and back for local people, and that run in the afternoon is oversubscribed, and it will be about a 4.5-hour trip, and will be a lot of fun.
Are you saying there's no more tickets left for any of these train trips?
The excursion one on Sunday is pretty well sold out. There's possibly, unless the last minute, there might be one or two bring tickets back. If anybody's really interested, they could bring their name in, but I wouldn't hold too much hope. It is pretty well cleaned up. For anybody at the last minute wants to go, I don't know if they could make it from Vancouver up, but certainly they can get a ticket yet to go one way, either Vancouver to Penticton or Penticton to Vancouver on the Monday. There are still seats available on that.
Well, thanks very much, Ross Axworthy, member or manager of the Chamber of Commerce, for talking to us today. It's talking about the Osprey Lake excursion, also the Vancouver and back train excursion, something we don't get too much of around in these parts.
And we'll be talking again next week with Ross Axworthy about the Save Our Sycamoose campaign. It seems a lot of history to this area is kind of coming back to life. The incurable romantic in all of us would like to see more of it, I think. I'm only speaking for myself, but really fascinating. A lot of history in this area. Turning to other news, Okanagan Similkameen MP Fred King recently spoke to an opposition motion regarding federal financial aid to farmers. And in the House of Commons on May the 3rd, he responded to several letters of complaint that he received from Okanagan farmers. Mr. King commented on the special circumstances that BC farmers worked under and stated they were justified in their complaints. He said the House of Commons, he read the House of Commons an editorial letter sent to him about federal farm stabilization policies.
This article to understand why local fruit growers only receive less than 5 cents a pound for apples while consumers pay more than 50 cents a pound. And of course, that's the cry of agriculture in general. Why can't we get more of the money that the consumer pays? Well, the minister knows that these circumstances exist and that they plague BC agriculture. He has been there. He's met with farmers in BC. A few weeks ago, I participated in a meeting in Kelowna at which the minister met with representatives of the BC tree fruits industry. This meeting was a direct result of representations which I made to the minister following the very dramatic Labor Day rally in Penticton, at which nearly 1,000 farmers and many with tractors and with trucks tied up highway traffic and taking their protest to the public. And I want to bring this out of this. During the meeting with the minister, one intelligent, industrious, keen orchardist taking on and the minister has now arrived, and you'll remember the discussion. And one, I think it was Rob Dawson from Coston, who said to the minister, explain to the minister the high level of wages which must be paid to Okanagan farm labor, high in comparison to other areas of Canada, and in comparison to other competing areas of the world. And he posed this problem to the minister. How do we survive in this circumstance? And I remember well the minister's response. And he said, I hope you're not suggesting that you should pay lower wages. And I'm sure the minister remembers that himself. And of course, that's not the position of the farmers, which the farmers of BC take. We know that farm workers are not overpaid for what they do. We know that we must maintain competitive wage scales, competitive with the other segments of the BC economy if we're to have labor on farm. But I recite this episode because it demonstrates an absolute contradiction in the position which the minister is taking with respect to the BC farm community. On the one hand, he says, as he did to Rob Dawson in Kelowna, I hope you're not suggesting that you should pay lower wages. In other words, go on paying the highest farm wages in the world, go on paying for all the social benefits that we demand as a part of your employment payments, go on paying the highest cost for agricultural land in Canada, go on paying the highest cost for water, for power, for services, go on paying the highest cost for farm equipment and supplies. And while telling the farmer to keep on paying these high costs, the minister contradicts the whole of his position by his statement on stabilization. Now he changes his tune. Now he says, I recognize no differences in input costs. Stabilization is at one level from coast to coast. And not only that, but the minister states that if a provincial government recognizes that these cost differences exist and does something to assist the farmer to cope with these higher costs, the minister in effect states, if your BC province helps you to stay in business, to keep you from going out of business, keep you from going bankrupt, help you to pay your bills, pay your labor costs, we of the federal government will penalize you by refusing you stabilization. That's the message that Mr. Wessel and Mr. Allison brought to Ottawa, to plead with the government on the behalf of BC farmers to recognize this circumstance, because if they don't, the farmers in British Columbia cannot exist.
Our thanks to Mr. King's office and the CBC House of Commons television service for that videotape. If you'd like to see the entire speech, you can watch Cable 11 this Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. And we're also hoping to get Mr. King on for a live interview at some point in the next week or so. Well, Gary McCallum just came back from the scene of a fire. Gary, can you describe in detail to us all about it?
Well, it actually wasn't that big of a fire. Just as we were going to air at 7 o'clock, the fire department called a general alarm, went down to take a look, and we've got some video that we just brought back here. Maybe they can roll that in master control right now. The fire was dealt with fairly quickly. Basically what happened was the fire department got there fast enough to contain it. It took place at the Golden Sands Hotel on Lakeshore Drive there, just across from the Sycamoose. And according to Assistant Fire Chief Brent Morgan, the fire started in the sauna unit. You can see the burnt out end of the building there. Basically, the fire department got on the scene very quickly and managed to contain it to just that unit. You can see there's quite a few people arrived there. One of the things that did happen, though, was between the time that the alarm was turned in and the fire department arrived, is a number of the people who were in the hotel, which is quite crowded now with the BC Festival and the long weekend and everything, were evacuated from the rooms. Here they're just chopping through the roof, trying to get the hoses in on parts of the building that were burned. And in just a second here, we should see a couple of shots of some of the people that were evacuated. All the belongings of the guests. Makes for a wonderful weekend for them. But for some of them, it was a little sidelight or show, and they were having a good time over in the neighboring units. As usual, the fire department and police had their usual crowd control problems. They were having difficulty working around the crowd.
Pool deck. We encourage people to bring down their air mattresses and float around the pool and enjoy this action-packed movie.
Ooh, sounds like a lot of fun. And it says here, Water Polo Sunday. Now, is this something that is going to be a regular event happening down there, and are they teams that can be open to the public?
Yeah, we're encouraging starting up a water polo team in Penticton. We're trying to get a social team together that of people that have never played water polo before, or people that have played water polo before and are interested in coming out on Sundays from 4 o'clock to 5 to have a little bit of a workout and a scrimmage game together.
Sounds great. Does their horse have to know how to swim?
Well, yeah, we do encourage that any horses that are going to participate can swim, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll bring down old Betsy, and we should have a good time. No. So it's every Friday night you have rock videos.
Yeah.
And is this for certain age groups, or is this pretty well for everybody?
Yeah, it's during an everyone welcome swim, and anyone is welcome to come.
Okay. Sounds like a lot of fun. Starts at 7 p.m., I think you said?
Right.
Okay. 7 to 9 or 9:30?
7 to 9.
7 to 9. 2 hours of action-packed fun, and I guess the regular fees apply. And so get down there. Thank you very much, Jim.
Good. Thanks a lot, then.
Okay. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, what else do we got happening here? We have Oh, there's a gentleman from the Okanagan College. Now, if you aren't aware, there have been some recent cutbacks and things happening down there. And what we did is we just went down and allowed the opportunity for them to just more or less express themselves as far as where they stand and how they are particularly feeling the crunch. And I see the tapes ready, but first I'm just going to read this little intro that Wayne McDougall, our assistant program director here, worked so hard to write. Okay, it says, Okanagan College has been in the news recently, having made drastic new changes to cover the deficit of $2 million. This may put the Summerland and the Penticton Centers of Okanagan College in very much jeopardy. To find out exactly what's happening at the Okanagan College, we spoke to Gary Dickinson, the regional director, and here it comes in 3, 2.
On the Okanagan Tonight, we're here with Gary Dickinson, who is the regional director for the South Okanagan Okanagan College system, specifically the one in Penticton here. And Gary, what's happening with Okanagan College gearing up for next year when we're looking at budget cuts and or shuffling of the Okanagan College campuses?
The basic problem that the college seems to be faced with for the 1985-86 year is a shortfall in its projected budget of about $2 million in an $18 million total budget.
Okay, once again, then there's a public meeting here at the Penticton campus. When is that?
Yes, on Tuesday, November the 27th at 7:30.
Okay, so if people are concerned about what's happening in the college situation, we'd like to invite everyone out to the college here, the campus in Penticton on Main Street, and the public meeting is open to the public for their input to be brought forward to the Board of Directors on the Okanagan College campus situation.
Okay, we're back. And let me tell you something else here. Tomorrow, or Saturday, which is tomorrow, Saturday is 17th, I believe it is vote day. And it's a very important vote, and we do hope you're going to get out there and do it, because it's voting on the Penticton School Board. We're voting in, I believe, 2 new positions. There's 3 candidates, but they're 2 new posts. Gesundheit, Tony. We have our cameraman with a bit of a cold here tonight. And also, voting in Summerland. Now, this is on two separate issues here. First of all, Summerland aldermen. There are going to be about 4 positions that are going to be up for grabs. One is a 1-year alderman term, and the rest, I believe, are 2-year alderman terms. So we do encourage the people in Summerland to get out there and vote for your alderman. As well, this is all happening at Giants Head School, as well as Summerland School Board. They're going to be voting in also a few posts up there. So in Penticton, voting place is Queen's Park School, and that's on Railway. And in Summerland, for voting for your alderman and your new school board people, that's a Giant Head School. Okay, what do we got coming up here next? We got, Mr. Hugh Fisher, who is an Olympic kayaking championship, or soon to be, was interviewed by Brian Crispin. And he was, not Brian Crispin, but certainly Hugh Fisher was a guest on the recent tapings of Front Page Challenge. So let's hear what Brian has to ask this wonderful man. Let's go.
One of the guests on Front Page Challenge, and our guest here in the studio with us, Mr. Hugh Fisher of Burnaby, who was a kayaker, still is, I guess, but won a gold medal in the Los Angeles Olympics. Congratulations and welcome to Penticton.
Thank you very much.
Okay, there is a lot of dedication involved in training for Olympic events. I'm told that those of you who train virtually give up your social life and a lot of other parts of your lives too, don't you?
Well, I don't look at it that way. I think we train full time, but you take up a different lifestyle than what most people have. And your lifestyle is that you travel a lot and train hard, and that's more or less what you do. So I think what you're asking is, was I making sacrifices by training the way I was training, and certainly not. I mean, in the last 10 years, I've probably been to 30 different countries and spent time in all the nicest resorts in the world, including the Okanagan, and I sure can't complain.
Now, kayaking itself, I think it actually began with the Inuit, didn't it? They're the ones who, I guess, invented the boat, aren't they?
That's right. That's
and
right.
I can't tell you about the sports because I don't have my pen. Tony, where's my pen? There it is. Okay. We rehearsed it, however. I caught it every time except now, right? And you can believe that. Okay, sports, like I said. Oh, we're going to try it again here. Here it comes. Oh, that's because it was a pencil. Okay, now, here's what's in sports tonight, as I mentioned, because Don McLaughlin isn't here. Who's our resident sports person? and who knows a whole heck of a lot more about sports than I do. What I am going to mention is tomorrow on Shaw Cable 11 Live, we're going to be telecasting a couple of Pups games from Penticton Memorial Arena. And they will be beginning at 2:15 will be the first game. Like I said, it'll be live, and the second game will be at 4:45. Okay, let's see. A couple of things I wanted to mention here. Christmas is coming. It's time to do that shopping, okay? And a little note here for a program which I just recently produced, and it should be on the air in late November, and that is Cable TV in Retrospect. So I do appreciate it if you would watch that at some time. Oh, something just hot off the press. Okay, here it is. The Jack Benny commercial hockey. The night move team was defeated, Lacey's, at an 8-4. The scores for the night moves team: Terry Boyle scored 2 goals and 3 assists. Brent McLeod 1 goal, and Rick Woods was 1 goal. Brian Pearson scored 1 goal. Brian Bogle got 1 goal. Brian Yasaskami got 1 goal, and Mike Kasich got 1 goal, and Fred Last got 2 assists. Keep up the good work, Fred. Okay, as I was just going to mention, one more little thing here. Our program director here, Gary McCallum, recently announced, as a matter of fact last night, that he is going to be getting married, and he's going to be marrying a wonderful woman by the name of Jane Edgett, and I just want to say we wish you both the best in the future, okay? And we're not sure when the wedding date is, but when we do, we'll mention it, and you're all invited, okay? Now, hey, it's that time of the week when we go out to the weather office and we get a full report out there. Here it comes, okay, the weather.
The weather office with a look at this weekend's weather. First of all, let's have a look at what's happened this last week. We started out fairly mild this last week, and then we turned fairly cold about the middle of the week as a surge of Arctic air moved down through the southern interior. During this past week, we've had a high of 11 degrees, which occurred on the 12th. And then we had a low of -5, which occurred on the 15th. A great deal of rain fell on both Monday and Tuesday. We had a total 3 to -6 in parts of the valley. Fairly cool temperatures overnight with some clear periods. And on Saturday, the highs should be getting up about similar to today, around 45 degrees in the valley here, south end of the valley. And the outlook for Sunday now, as I mentioned, cloudy, and the chance of some showers Sunday morning, and then improving during the day. And the highs on Sunday should be a little warmer than what we had, with a little bit of southwesterly flow. Could even see some southerly winds in the valley on Sunday, highs getting up around 6 to 7 degrees. So that'll be a little closer to seasonal normals by that time. So that's the weather picture for this coming weekend. Have a good weekend, and enjoy the weather.
No, I'm sorry, but yeah, okay, and I'll explain to that everybody on the air right now. Okay? Thanks for calling. Bye-bye. Okay, what that person was calling about, if you notice that last videotape, it was looking a little orange. Okay, that did originate from here, and it wasn't your TV set. And I did want to thank that person for calling in. Okay, a couple little things here I want to mention before we call it a night here at Okanagan Tonight, is, first of all, Beach Festival Association. Okay, it's their annual general meeting, and what this is a meeting for everybody who wants to be on next year's committee for a bigger and better peach festival, and that's what it's all about. Okay, and the meeting is going to be December 4th, Tuesday, December 4th. Mark that on your calendar, quick. Okay, I'll wait for you. Okay, you're back? Okay, great. Okay, it's 7:30 p.m. You writing this down? Okay. At the Peach Bowl Convention Center, and we all know where that is, right across from Sandman. Okay, for more information, you call 492-0665. 492-0665 for more information about the Peach Festival Association meeting. Okay, and by the way, if you call that number, you can talk to a Moray only. I do apologize if I didn't get that quite correct. Okay, next thing, Peach City Choirs of Barber Shop Singers. Now, hey, we have one of our staff here. His dad is a really grand singer, let me tell you, and this is a little plug for them because they've been doing some really good singing around the South Okanagan here. And what it is it's Wanna Sing Guest Night, Monday, November 26th at 7:30 p.m. Write this one down too. Penticton Yacht Club. Remember that is? That's where all the boats are. Okay. And men who like to harmonize It is open to men only, I'm sorry. Unless there's some women out there with a register way down about there, but we're able to walk this, okay? And you can call Mike at 493-6144 or Jerry at 492-4637. One last little thing here. We're coming up the old end of the time here. Is get into the holiday spirit. And what pressured businessmen wouldn't? What it's all about is get into the holiday spirit, meaning, hey, Christmas is coming. Register now for the holiday recreation programs, okay? There's fitness, tennis for kids, programs. For more information, contact the community center. By the way, they are also having gift certificates that you can buy and give as stocking stuffers. And there are gift certificates for, like I said, entrance fees to pool or racquetball, or just even using the gym or the weight room if your son or daughter want to start doing this kind of thing. Okay, and you can contact Elizabeth Wilson down at the Community Center on either of those things. Okay. Now I can see that we're going now. So have I got it? Yeah. Okay. That's it. Thank you, Mike, for master control. Thank you, Tony, and thank me because that's been Okanagan Tonight for Friday. But however, don't go away because I'm going to be back in about 1 minute. And we'll talk to you some more about some fun things. Stay with me.
This concludes the Okanagan Tonight for this evening. Stay tuned. Russell Shippus will be right back.
Hi, welcome to a little segment of the program where we're all going to turn green. No, I'm just kidding. It's not even May 17th yet, which we all know is Green Beer Day, right? Okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to have some little fun here tonight. Just by, take it the next 10 minutes, tell a few jokes, some good jokes, by the way, and also I'd like to introduce to you a little friend here. If you were watching the program just earlier on Okanagan Tonight, this young man has been sitting here. Yes, that's his name, Punk Rock. The new craze in Penticton, or an old craze which has recently arrived to Penticton, is called the punk rock phase. And remember when pet rocks were out? Well, guess what? Somebody with a very good idea decided to go out and create all these little guys, these little punk rocks, and make an absolute fortune. However, you cannot, isn't he nice? You cannot buy these punk rocks here in Penticton. You still have to get them down east. But however, they should be on their way. Okay, now let's move on here. Ha 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 ha. Notice how I come prepared. I did not memorize because I only had 30 seconds to do it in. So what I did is I just brought the book and ticked off a few things. What these are is, little jokes that you can throw around at the old party or after dinner jokes or whatever you want. And some of them are funny. I think they're funny, and by all means, if you want to laugh, you're more than welcome to. Okay, things like for family and friends, tender reflections from the past. We were so poor, Tony.
How poor were you, Russ?
Very new. He's just getting trained. Okay, we were so poor.
How poor were you, Russ?
Boy, I'm telling you, we were so poor, we couldn't afford a watchdog. When we heard a noise outside, we barked ourselves. They get better. They do get better. Okay, business, occupations, and professions. Here's a cutie. The barber told me to use a hair tonic, and my hair would come in heavy. As you can see, I'm getting a little thin here. But only one hair came in, but it weighed 12 pounds. I see. I can hear you laughing, or groaning, or getting up to turn the channel. Whichever you do, it's entirely up to you. And here's a cute little joke. It's in regards to women, and this does occasionally happen when there's a little friction between the married couple, and it goes, the hand that darns the let me try that again. The hand that darns the sock is usually the one that socks the husband. And if that isn't true or word spoken, I don't know what is. Let's see, manners, tact, diplomacy, and etiquette. Now, this was mentioned, a new bylaw here in Penticton about the problem with the public washrooms and urinals, that people are constantly throwing in cigarette butts and cigars and everything, and they really want to do something about cleaning all this up. And I know it was mentioned by a few of the aldermen that, yes, we must do something about this. It's absolutely disgusting. However, it was voiced by one of our staff people here, Tony, that maybe it should be that they should never throw cigarette butts in urinals because they get soggy and they're hard to light. Something on drinking and water, liquor, beer, and other things. And it says here, I get drunk on water as well as on land. And God knows that's pretty true here. Are there any Scottish or Irish people out there? Just a minute, let me hear. Are there any Scottish people out there? Ha ha ha. Here we are. Okay. I just found out why Scotch bagpipes make Scotsmen so brave in war. They'd rather die than hear them. Not that funny, huh? Okay. You can certainly drop in here and speak to me in person. However, if you'd prefer to phone and write, I'd like that much better myself. Few other jokes here. One neighbor who was talking to his other neighbor, he says, "We're living in a better neighborhood now." And the neighbor he used to belong to says, "So are we." "Have you moved too?" said the neighbor. "No, we're still living on the block you moved away from." And the definition of a Scotsman: a man who stays at home and lets his mind wander. Just kidding. Anyway, like I said, we've got a few others in here, and let me just get back to them. By the way, if you have any jokes or anything like that that you would like to pass into here, and if you would like to see a section every Friday night here on Shaw Cable 11 where we just sit down, relax, do some funny things, tell some funny jokes, or you yourself would like to be on the program, you're more than welcome to write in or call in, and you can contact me, Russell Chevis, CO, Shaw Cable 11, Penticton, 379 Martin Street, Penticton, BC. Or else you can just, well, actually, prefer to write, get you to write in. It's 32 cents, but the heck, 32 cents for a career on television. Look what it got me, okay? And as we get on here with jokes, caught me off guard here, talking about money. And God knows we all talk about money. I wasn't affected by the crash in 29, said the gentleman. I went broke in 28. Anyway, something on travel. Here's a cutie. In England, they've been changing the guards for 200 years. Guess they just aren't big enough to change themselves. As we move on, marriage. Fun one with marriage. Matrimony is the process whereby love ripens into vengeance. And maybe that's true for some people, Tony. Maybe that isn't true for others. I don't know. Psycho or psychiatry and neurotics, or just plain nuts, whichever the case may be. She tried to kill him with a look, but she was cross-eyed, so she killed the man he was standing beside. Mechanics, science, automobiles, and inventions. This is a great book, I must say. My car is so old.
How old is it, Russ?
My car is so old. They gave me a license plate. They gave me a license. Thank you, Tony. They gave me a license plate with Roman numerals. That is an old. What does the old ticker say? Not much. Okay. Mickey's sleeping. He finds these jokes to be terribly boring as well. Okay. We got some others here on sports and gambling. I caught a fish so big.
How big was it, Russ?
He's getting better at this, let me tell you. That fish was so big, I got up in the middle of the night and called myself a liar. Now, that was bad. We couldn't even, ooh.
That was bad, Russ.
You know, we do, if you want to call in and groan, you're more than welcome to. Okay, wolves and wolveses. Now, what that means is young lovers, male and female. When I told her my proposition, her face grew grissom and cold.
Don't run that by me again.
That's because I didn't finish it. When I told her my proposition of wanting to marry her, her face grew grimson and gold. Her old school colors. I guess that's an old joke.
Old school.
Old school. Show business, radio, television, burlesque movies, and nightclubs. We all know those all too well. Okay, and what the joke is, they couldn't afford a rising orchestra pit. So they made the musicians stand up slowly. For any of you who have been in the business, you would understand that. Oh, who are we advertising? Oh, we're advertising. We're going to be crowned King Fool tonight, and I can understand that. And just general jokes. Everything is so overcrowded today that the cemeteries are only selling standing room. Pretty bad, I know. I heard the groan from across the street. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what? Let me tell you, it's that time to go. It's coming up now to the top of the hour when we're going to be at 8 o'clock. And I just want to say thank you. And like I said, if you do want to, see some kind of fun thing happening here where we just talk about things or bring in people to talk about that might be humorous or non-humorous or whatever, even just interesting, by all means contact me, Russell Chevis. CO, Shaw Cable 11, 379 Martin Street, Penticton, BC. Do we have a postal code down there?
No.
No? Or you can drop in person.
We're dropping in person.
Drop in person, that's what it says. Every Friday night. We'd like to hear and see you guys. So, it is that time to go. 20 to the top of the hour. Good night.